We mentioned Haley Barbour out there yesterday in Chicago. Take a look at some of what he is saying on the stump as he tees up his argument against President Obama preparing for a possible presidential run.
In my view, it's a failure of government policy. In fairness, the Obama administration arrived in office facing some of the worst economic conditions in decades. But for more than 2 years, this administration and its Congress have pursued policy after policy that create economic uncertainty or directly hurt the economy.
Sounding like a presidential candidate
Indeed,
there in Chicago. And we're joined now by Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Senator Sanders, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
Thank you. We just talked to Senator Bingaman about the crisis in Japan and the future of nuclear power here in the United States. And we want to just start off with you on that. Do you think that nuclear power, President Obama talking about plans to build another plant, the first in decades here in the U.S., is that still a good option?
Well, I never thought it was a good option well before the horrendous situation in Japan. I think it's not only the unthinkable, which is apparently happening in Japan today, but if you were to ask any expert what is the most expensive way to produce new energy, you know what it is? It's nuclear energy. Not to mention, you got folks out there talking about dozens of new nuclear plants in America, but they haven't told me where they're going to put the radioactive waste. Yucca Mountain is not going to happen. Where is it going to go? Is it going to go in your state? It's not going to go in my state. We don't want it. I don't know of any state that does want it. So my point is, no, I think the future of energy in America is A, energy efficiency. Vermont does well on that. California does well. We got a long way to go around the country. Number two, major investments in sustainable energies like wind, solar, geothermal, biomass. I believe that is the future of energy in America.
All right, Senator, on another topic, this morning you introduced a new bill with Congressman Weiner, the Save Social Security Act, it's called, that would require a supermajority for any changes to the Social Security system. We have this big debate going on about entitlement reform. Do you believe that we should be taking Social Security off the table and say whatever we do around entitlements, whatever we do around spending, around deficit, Social Security is not part of that discussion?
Well, I get a little bit disturbed when I hear folks going on the floor of the Senate or in the media talking about Social Security is going broke. It's going broke. We have to reduce benefits. We have to privatize it. We have to raise the retirement age. That is all total nonsense. Social Security has a $2.6 trillion surplus, can pay out every benefit owed for the next 26 years. It is not going bankrupt and it's not going broke. The attack on Social Security has nothing to do with deficit reduction because Social Security has never contributed one nickel to the deficit. The attacks on Social Security are ideological, primarily from Republicans who have never liked Social Security, don't believe the government should be in the business of providing retirement benefits to the elderly.
Senator, speaking of deficits, the House is going to be considering a 3-week continuing resolution today that'll cut $6 billion. The Senate will take it up later in this week. Seems like both sides are now getting frustrated and a little impatient with these short-term resolutions. What can we expect from you later this week when this heads to your side?
Well, I think what is going to be required, and what the American people, poll after poll shows me, are tired of folks in Washington just talking about cutting. The Republican proposal that passed the House would throw 200,000 children off of Head Start. It would cut back on the Social Security Administration, substantial cutback on Pell Grants at a time when college today is unaffordable for the middle class, cut back by 30% on EPA, which enforces the Clean Air and Clean Water Act. What we need to introduce into the debate, and I intend to do that, I have introduced legislation, is more revenue, a surtax on millionaires. You have the richest people in this country becoming wealthier. Their effective tax rate is the lowest on record. The top 2% have received hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks. And the solution to the deficit crisis is what? To throw kids off of Head Start? To do away or cut back substantially on nutrition programs for pregnant women? That makes no sense.
All right, Senator Bernie Sanders, independent of Vermont, making it very interesting. We're going to see another filibuster anytime soon, one of those classic Sanders filibusters?
Not right away.
All right, we'll keep our eyes peeled. Twitter.com/Rick Klein, Twitter.com/Karen Travers. It's become a book now. That filibuster that he did in December is already a book.
It's certainly long enough.
That's right.